This is the QB Huddle Podcast, hosted by Tim Smith and Brandon Newey.
Welcome back to the QB Huddle Podcast. I'm Tim Smith. I'm joined always by my podcast partner, Brandon Newey. We talk all things quarterback all season long, and this week we have a special, not guest, but a special guest host who's with us from the beginning. His name is Jackie Bridges. I think everybody knows this individual. You can see him on the screen. He's a Hall of Fame wide receiver from Upper Iowa University. He was inducted there in 2012. Dallas Diesel national champion in the NAFL. Dallas Diesel all-time leading receiver. He was inducted into the Minor League Hall of Fame in 2016. As the head coach of the North Texas Stampede, Coach Jack, we'll call him at that point, won 2 league championships, 3 USA Bowl national championships, longtime head coach of the Carrollton Steeler youth team. He's got 2 sons playing big-time college football, local icon legend, known all over the nation as Diesel Train 8 or OG or Coach Jack. Please welcome our special guest host, Jackie OG Bridges. Welcome in, my friend.
Yeah.
Thank you. Hey, thank you guys, man. Thank you guys.
You like that introduction?
You like that?
Hey, man.
Listen, all these accomplishments
Tim
here.
went all out, man. Tim went all out. I appreciate that, Tim.
Yeah. Little jelly, both of y'all are in the Hall of Fame right now, and I'm just sitting here just twiddling my thumb.
Well, that just means we're a lot older than you, bro. That's all that means.
That's true.
You might still be playing if not for the broken leg. So
yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, my wife probably hate me on that one.
So Jack, you have quite a story. Obviously, big time college football player in Iowa. Then you come down to Dallas, big time player, big time coach, big time everything. Tell us a little bit about your story and what makes you who you are, football wise.
Oh man, that's a $1 million question, Tim. But I'll go back. I started back, man, at an early age. I started playing ball when I was about 4 or 5. Like most kids do. Played Little League. I grew up a little bit. I was born in Gulfport, Mississippi. My mom moved to Texas at an early age. I was probably about 6 when she moved to Texas. And been here ever since. I'm 52 years old. Obviously, I played Little League ball in Dallas. We lived on that side of town for the longest. I didn't move to the northern side of Dallas until my freshman year in high school. So that's how I ended up at R.L. Turner. But I was doing my elementary years. I was over in the Dallas area. But yeah, man, I came over to R.L. Turner in 1985. I attended college in 93. No, I'm sorry. I attended college in 89, and I graduated college in 93 from Upper Iowa University, which you mentioned in the beginning. But it's been a long road, man. I've got a lot of experience. I've been a lot of places. My college back then, Upper Iowa was only a Division III school. Now, they didn't even give out scholarships back then, so I kind of went on my grants and loans and things like that. It was a struggle for me, man, back when I was coming through school. Now, today in 2023, Upper Iowa University is now a Division II school, and that actually gives out full ride scholarships, man. So they've came a long way over the years. But again, I'm probably telling my age, but that's okay. But yeah, man, I did that. I came home. I jumped in. Obviously, with my size, I was probably about a buck 50, buck 55 coming out in 1993 in college. And you guys would know, Tim, you may know for sure. Back then the little guys wasn't very attractive.
No.
They wanted the prototypical 6'2", 6'3" type receiver. The Michael Irvin types, type guys coming out. But I wasn't that guy. I was about 5'9", about a buck 60, and it was just hard. Nowadays, look how the flip how to switch a flip. Now these little guys is really the dynamites, of the NFL when you start talking about the passing game. So a lot have changed, since I came through, man. But yeah, once my professional, stuff didn't go through, obviously I started coaching, and I got into the semi-pro stuff with the Dallas Diesel back in 1997 when they coexisted. Tim, you know Diesel very well. You actually came aboard when you came to Texas to play with us.
Yep.
So we got a little history ourselves. But yeah, I was doing that, man. I was fortunate enough to be asked by the late, great Patrick Porter, rest his soul, to join the Stampede a few years back. And I kind of just rode into the sunset with those guys, man. And you guys, both of you guys know, Tim, you coach with me. Brandon, you was my quarterback. So y'all know my history with those guys, man. And
Yeah.
that's kind of the way it went, man. So it's been okay. And right now, I just continue to try to inspire. You know, I don't ask for pat on the backs. I don't need pat on the backs. I don't need, hey Jack, you're motivating me. That's just who I am. That's just in me. That's in my nature. That's in my blood. And if people, want to follow my lead, by all means, do that.
And please follow you on socials, because we'll see some very motivating videos of you running up and down stadiums at the ripe young age of 52. I mean, I'm a year younger than you, and I couldn't do any of that stuff. So I'm staying off all the stadiums, but you're out there running, sweating, 100 degrees. It doesn't matter. You're getting it in. So, and you're out there working with kids all the time. I see you working with receivers. And you have no reason to do that. I coached with the Dallas Prime last year. You'd be out at practice when it was freezing cold, just kind of hanging out. You were at a lot of the games, which I know the guys appreciate. So we didn't even mention the fact that you were part of the Dallas Prime as well. So, man, you're just kind of everywhere. So you're a big football guy, obviously, big football fan. So that's why we have you on the show. Typically, we deal with quarterbacks. But as a wide receiver, I mean, you know about quarterbacks, so we want to know from you. We're going to start with you. Actually, let me jump back. We're not going to get into that segment yet. We're going to talk about what happened yesterday, because some very good things happened yesterday, and then some better things happened yesterday. So let's talk about that. And let's start with you, Jack. What happened with Dallas yesterday, coming off the bye week? We've seen traditionally this year in the NFL, teams coming off a bye week are playing really well. How did we completely dismantle the Rams yesterday?
I think what we did, Tim, I actually attended the game yesterday, so I saw it up close. I saw it up close. And what I saw, it just seems to me that once our defense gets started and jumps off early, and they get started quickly and they get their motor going, I think it kind of hits a button with the offense to kind of match the energy. And it seems like every game that we've played thus far this year, if the defense starts off hot, then it kind of goes in our favor throughout the game. And if you watch the game yesterday, at first, I was a little worried. First three plays, we got to get sacked. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, I'm like, oh, are we gonna be able to block these guys today? Fortunately for us, we were able to get a penalty, keep the drive moving, and we went down and went ahead and scored and wound up going up 7-0. And then from that point on, that's when we actually saw our defense just kind of take, put the nail to the coffin. And like I say, once our defense jump starts early, it kind of gets the offense going. And I think that's what happened yesterday. We kind of jumped on the Rams early, and they couldn't come out. They couldn't dig themselves out of it.
I agree with you. I think we beat up Matthew Stafford pretty good yesterday. He had to come out of the game. He was all messed up. If you couldn't see it because you were at the game, but looking at the replays, there was a couple where he was getting hit and they were zooming in on his face, and it just looked like the worst pain ever. So he really went through it yesterday. Turpin had a really nice return. That really set up the Cowboys offense in deep. CeeDee Lamb, I know you're a big fan. I'm a big fan of CeeDee. He played incredible yesterday. Dak was that's 2 games in a row where Dak has been on his game and throwing the ball all over the yard. Something has happened. And I'll tell you one thing that really surprised me about Dak, forget about the yards and the touchdowns, the work that he was doing at the line of scrimmage. And that's what I've always wanted to see from him. And, wow, yesterday in particular, he did more work than I've ever seen him do. And I don't know if it was dressing or if some of that was real, but it was impressive to watch him go through that. So I really enjoyed seeing that. And I think a lot of that has to do with the Mike McCarthy influence, right? Because Aaron Rodgers did a lot of that under Mike McCarthy. So I enjoyed the game yesterday. It was a lot of fun, but we expected to beat the Rams, didn't we?
Yeah,
we expected that.
No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Now, I think our co-host Brandon, he expected to beat the Bengals yesterday. Now, on the Couch Coach, I went lone wolf and I picked the Bengals to beat San Francisco because of the way Brock Purdy had been playing in that offense and because of the way Joe Burrow had been ascending and been playing so well. So, Brandon, man, talk about it. What happened yesterday to your 49ers?
Oh, my gosh. 3 in a row. I mean, that can't happen.
That's a trend.
It's unfortunate. We lost 31-17. This is the third straight loss, but also the third straight times that the Niners have scored 17 points. Offensively, I didn't think we did bad. We outperformed them 460 yards to 400 yards of total offense. But defensively, as you all know this, you can't give up 400 yards of total offense. I mean, Joe Burrow looked like all-world Joe Burrow again. I was afraid of that. We only got to him twice. We paid the defensive line a total of $330 million on the line, and we can't get pressure with 4. This is a trend. It's not to say it's all on Brock, but he did have 3 turnovers. You can't do that, and it sucks for him. Like, he's a good quarterback, but we all knew, and Coach Jackie's probably just smiling like, "Hey, I told you." we have to go through this rookie experience with him, and this sucks because it's like, it's not that he's bad. It's just like, you're doing dumb stuff at the wrong time. If you're throwing picks and we're up by 14, okay, we'll figure it out. But you're doing it in crucial moments. You've got to learn, young bull. You've got to learn. And a guy like Joe Burrow will kill you if you turn the ball over. And so on that first pick, that RPO, I didn't like the play call. I just say run the ball on 1st and goal. Let's not get too cute. Even if he threw the ball and it was a touchdown, it was still going to be called back for a legal pass, lineman downfield in the RPO scenario. And then the second pick happened. They were in quarters coverage. It looks like the guy sinks down. As you know, in the quarters coverage, those safeties will creep down on that dig. It was a 2 double dig. I understand what he saw, but in cover 4, for me as my quarterback, take everything underneath, man. It's 1st and 10. Let's just give it to Christian McCaffrey. Let's focus in on that. We have a lot of holes, and we got to fix it. Thank God it's the bye week. But I will say the 49ers have been in this situation before each of the past 3 seasons. And so am I panicking? I'm not. But it's frustrating. It's frustrating that we have to go through this, right? And these guys are laughing it up. My man had a Joe Burrow jersey on. Jackie's been lighting me up on Facebook. Everybody's talking shit, but hey, I think in the end, we'll see you at the top.
Is Brock Purdy still the guy?
He is, 100%.
Okay.
Dude,
okay.
That kid was making some incredible throws yesterday before that.
The one thing I like about
rookie plays, you're like, God, like, we have to go through it.
What I've always liked about Brock was his decision making. And since he's thrown his first interception a couple weeks ago, or was it last week, it seems like maybe the seal's been broken, and now his decision making has just kind of gone out the window, and he's doing some really strange things on these interceptions that we hadn't seen since he played great against Dallas, and we haven't seen that Brock Purdy since. And so
the kid was still 70% completion, man. Those 2 picks, you got to eliminate those. As coaches, you guys know, like, hey, protect the ball. Outside of that kid played really good because I loved how he responded after that second interception and drove us down the field 90 yards and did his thing. I was like, just keep fighting, kid. Just keep fighting. We'll figure this out. It just sucks that we got to figure it out when we have this team that we feel can make a run. And you got to go through it because if people say, oh, Trey Lance this, Trey Lance that, Trey would have done the same shit. It's a rookie. He still hasn't started 16 full games. And I didn't want to put him on a pedestal. I believe in him. I feel he's going to still be really good. We just got to go through the BS with him first and learn from it.
Fair enough.
Fair enough, right?
Fair enough. All right, let's move on. Let's get on to into our segment of who was on fire this past weekend. That there was a lot of good quarterback play throughout the league, and apparently Jack has a surprise for us today. He's not going to choose Dak Prescott, who I thought he was going to go with. So lay it on us, Jack. Who was on fire for you yesterday?
Man, I'm gonna actually go off the wall a little bit and give this guy a little fire. Now his numbers are not going to sway you guys. It's not going to wow you guys. but I have to give him his flowers on it. And I'm going to go with the rookie, Will Levis from Tennessee.
Yo, love that pick. Love that pick.
That's who I'm going to go with for my fire this week. And obviously, like I say, the numbers are not going to wow you, but he was 19 of 29 for 238 yards and 4 TDs.
4 tubbies.
From
Oh,
4 tubs.
wowing.
From a rookie, and I kind of give him one of those Brock Purdy kind of stories, because this was a guy, if you guys remember, on draft night, he sat in the green room and did not get drafted.
No.
And you can only imagine what that feeling was probably like. So I
Right.
kind of got a little extra boost for guys like that. I kind of call them the underdog, so to speak. So for the rookie to come in and able to perform, and actually not only perform but get a win in that, I have to give him his flowers. So that'll be my five pick this week. I'm going to give it to the rookie, Will Levis from Tennessee.
I love that pick. I'm going to talk about him a little bit later and dive a little bit deeper in some of these stats, because I thought, you say the numbers won't wow you, but I'll tell you what, I was really impressed with the efficiency and the fact that he's thrown 4 touchdowns, all the while Tanapu this year has thrown a total of 2 touchdowns. So in one game, he doubled Tanapu's numbers, which isn't saying a lot because we know who Tanapu is.
Right? Is he the guy in Tennessee now?
He might be. He might be.
Wow.
I mean, the great thing about the NFL is it's such a short season that we get to overreact each and every week. So we might as well say, yeah, he's the guy. Stay with it. Stay with it. Brandon, who was on fire for you yesterday? I know it wasn't Brock Purdy. Sorry.
If he didn't throw those 2 picks, he'd be in this thing. Pretty. You better leave me alone, man. To me, it's Jalen Hurts, man. I loved what he did. It was a tough game last year. They lost to them. He's finding a way to get it done, and a lot of people have scrutinized him for not being the best passer. But my man was 29 of 38, 76 completion percentage, 319 yards, 4 touchdowns, no turnovers. Tim, eat it.
Oh, wow.
I told you he's good.
Weston had one job and blew it.
Now, the thing about it, I do worry because he's limping around a little bit. And it's concerning. And now you go into this game versus Dallas, a divisional game. Their D-line's running right now. The Phillies got a good line, but are they going to use him as much in the run game like they have in the past? I think they stay away from that.
I don't know. I know he's not going
for you guys to really make a push, but I think Jalen Hurts, to me, really showed the NFL world that, hey, I'm not just a guy that can just run the ball. It's an addition to what I can do, but I can also deliver it on time with efficiency and lead my team. And he was practically on one leg. It was quite impressive. I know you hate this, Tim.
Let's not over-exaggerate.
You hate it. You've been tearing him up. I told you that was real.
And I can think of at least 2 of those passes that were literally punted down the field. So
hey, it's okay. There were some lollipops. Will Levis threw some lollipops, but he's got D-Hop. That's where you got great receivers, right?
Okay.
You deliver the mail, the receivers do the cool shit with it.
That's his first time on fire segment this year. So congrats, Jalen Hurts, for making it to the QB Huddle.
No turnovers. That's a plus.
No turnovers. That's always going to get you. You know who my on fire quarterback was? I've got his jersey on. I've been high on him for a couple of weeks. What really turned me on about Joe Burrow yesterday was the way he ran the football when he had to, right? Now, we know he's not a running quarterback, but my man had 44 yards on the ground, and what's good about that is he's healthy, and that's what I liked about Joe Burrow yesterday.
Damn good.
28 for 32, 283, 3 touchdowns, 0 turnovers. That's what you expect from Joe Burrow. It wasn't just Jamar Chase. He was spreading the ball around, although I love the last touchdown, a little fake screen. We used to run that play. But, I love that play. But anyway, great job by Joe Burrow yesterday. He was certainly the difference in that game outside of the turnovers by San Francisco. But you go into San Francisco like that. San Francisco's trying to get off the snide. You're trying to get healthy, trying to figure out who you are. Baltimore is carrying it in your division, so you have to keep winning. And I thought it was a big time win for them. They're going to be okay. I think Cleveland is. I don't know. Cleveland did okay yesterday, but anyway.
You failed to mention that dude had Joe Montana in the building, and my man completed 18 straight passes.
He did at one point. I thought it was 17, but
insane.
18.
He looked
Did
like
he
a
know Joe was there? Did he know?
machine.
Did he know or did he know that Joe Montana was upstairs?
Yeah, so what it was is it was the anniversary of the 2 Super Bowls that we won versus Cincy, and they had all the old guys in there, Ronnie Lott,
Sure.
Jerry, I think Roger Craig was there. It was a lot of great
Ronnie
players
Lott
there
was
back
there
in the
too.
80s, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eddie DeBarlo was there, and dude, we just it sucks.
I remember watching that Super Bowl.
Maybe the real Joe Montana was on the Bengals. Like
I watched that Super Bowl in my grandparents' basement. My grandmother loved the Bengals helmets. Well, my whole family was Bear fans, but for that day, we were all big Bengal fans, and they had the Icky Shuffle and all that kind of thing. And man, watching Joe Montana go down that final drive and hit was it who did he hit for that touchdown? It was John Taylor, number 82.
John Taylor. Yep.
And of course, we know the story, right? He gets into the huddle and he looks around and he goes, "Hey guys, John Candy's here." It's going into the final drive of the Super Bowl, and he kind of cracks everybody up, and everybody's like, "Well, if he can be cool, I guess we can be cool." But man,
dude.
Montana, I'll never forget that game. Brandon, do you remember it? Were you old
I wasn't
enough?
even born. I was born in '87.
You were born.
I never got to see Joe Montana, man, until I watched that Peacock series. I never got to watch him. I was a big Steve Young fan.
Yeah.
I bet you remember that game.
Yeah. Yes.
You remember that game.
He was insane, dude.
We talked about the good. We got to talk about the bad just a little bit, although it seems like we've been piling on to the bad a little bit here. But Jackie, who's garbage juice is a segment we do every week where we kind of put a quarterback into the garbage juice bucket and let him lay there for a week. So who do you have in your garbage juice this week?
I mean, again, to me, doing my homework around the league with the QBs this week, it wasn't a whole lot of impressive guys. So it was, as far as numbers wise, and I'm pretty sure you guys have done your homework as well. There was a few guys with the obvious big numbers, but it was a lot of QBs that was just subpar numbers. So mine was kind of easy for me this week because it was, once again, I'm gonna choose a game that I actually attended, and I'm gonna give that to Matt Stafford. I'm gonna give that to Matt Stafford, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because to me, I just feel like Matt Stafford is he's one of those quarterbacks that's you can put him in that conversation as being one of the elites over his career.
Mm-hmm.
And for him to go out there yesterday and and he only threw 13 for 22. 13 for 22 for 162. He had one tub, one INT. You basically got blown out. The score looked decent, I guess, when you scored 20 points or whatnot. But it was, if you watched the game, you got whooped. It was a blowout game, really, from the word go. From that first possession. So, and again, there's a lot of guys I could throw in. It was some obvious guys out there. Mahomes didn't impress me yesterday, and that's one of the ones we like to give him his flowers every week. But
True.
I don't even think KC threw a touchdown yesterday.
Give it to him.
But I'm trying. One of you guys might got him up in y'all.
Light him up.
But
wow, easy. I let him make it because I know he was sick. So I let him make it because of the illness.
But I'm gonna give mine to Matt Stafford this week.
That you can't go wrong with that pick. He absolutely was made to look much below average yesterday, and he didn't even compete. Had to come out of the game. He was getting whooped all day. Love that pick, Brandon. Who's in your garbage juice?
Come on down, Mr. Brock Purdy. My Brock Purdy looked like a 22 caliber. It was not hitting. Now, outside of those 2 interceptions, I think he played solid, but this is your 3rd straight loss. Your second chance to really have your Brady moment, and you botched it. Now, I loved how you responded after that second pick. That's the type of stuff I love to see. But in the last 3 games, brother, you have thrown 5 picks. We got to eliminate the BS, man. We got too good of a team. Even though the defense is still giving up points, offense still got to put up points, period. Yeah. End of story. I feel like anytime you guys used to say, anytime a team scores over 17 or 21 points, you should win the game. You should. We can't have that happen, but it's not on the defense. I figured, man, I just hate seeing this as my team, that we have got to suffer the growing pains. when we got such a team that can make a run. We have maybe a 3-year, 5-year window. Maybe.
Okay.
So, and I also have another one in there.
Oh,
Listen,
you're gonna have two.
Pooh Bisky. I told you.
That
Didn't I
is not
tell you,
fair.
Tim? He
That's
came in
unfair.
relieved from Kenny Pickett through
That's
2
unfair.
INTs. Didn't look so good.
That's
And then I
unfair.
got to give it to Mahomes, man. 2 INTs. I know he was sick. He suffered his first loss, divisional road loss in his career. That's crazy. I'm gonna let him off the hook. He's tippy toeing in it, but I'm gonna give him a break. But the full garbage juice has definitely got to be Purdy.
Okay.
It is what it is.
We'll leave Purdy in there. You're really not being fair to Mitchell. I don't like how you.
Hey, yes, I am.
Got Mitchell right there.
Yes, I am.
I feel like you're just.
Bisky.
I feel like you're just lashing out right now.
Pooh Bisky.
I didn't even think to put Patty in there only because, yes, he played terrible, but he was extremely ill yesterday. And I think a lot of his whole family was sick for like a couple days. And you could tell he just didn't look like himself. And, I mean, it takes the whole team to lose to the Denver Broncos. Let's be fair. It wasn't just him. I had Brock Purdy also in the garbage juice, so my man is definitely sitting in there for the week. My reason I have him in there is because of his last 2 performances, concussion aside. He's turning the ball over. He's making really bad decisions. It's not just the turnovers. It's how the RPO, throwing the ball down the middle, the fumble. I think that was the difference in the game yesterday because the defense wasn't playing great. And we're starting to see a little, some holes in Brock Purdy, which is good. It's good to know that he's human. He's not an AI robot, as they tried to convince us on NFL Network. He's actually a human being. It's good to see. I think that they'll be okay. I still think he's the guy there, but, man, it hasn't been good for a couple of weeks, and 3 losses in a row. You better figure that out, Brandon.
It's unfortunate. Now we got a bye week. And there's a trend with the bye weeks, right?
True. You might lose in the bye.
We're the only team in the league that has played 8 straight games. It's time to take a break, regroup. We need a prayer. So all you guys out there, please say a prayer for my team because, boy, I don't know what's going on.
Either one of us is going to say a prayer for your team. I don't know.
I think it's this. It's because my son Roman hasn't watched the games in the last 3 games. He's been asleep. So I got to get him looking again. He's seen every Cowboys game he's experienced versus the Niners. Look what happens. I was like, hey, I need you at the game.
Wow. So this might be tough for you, Jackie, because you were at the Cowboys game, which we know can take a lot of time. But if you got to watch some more football yesterday, and it sounds like you did, who surprised you yesterday? Who played better than you thought that what they had it in them?
Man, I won't say that I thought it was more than what they had in them, but I'm going to, once again, I'm going to throw you guys another monkey wrench on my pick for my surprise player this weekend. The guy I'm going to go with is a guy that everybody has thrown under the bus. A lot of guys have probably even thrown his nameplate away. And I'm going with Russell Wilson.
Yes.
I'm going with Russell Wilson this week for my surprise player because that man have taken so much. Oh my God, he's taken so much.
He really has.
And I ain't just talking about from week to week. I mean, we can go back to last year. I mean, that guy's just really been taking a lot of lumps and a lot of scrutiny and a lot of negative energy. I mean, to the point to where guys basically read him off. So I'm gonna give it to Russell Wilson, and again, I'm gonna read a stat line for you guys. It wasn't impressive, but what was impressive is that you were able to go beat a Kansas City team that you guys haven't beaten in a while. Looking at the history, they haven't beat Kansas City in quite some time. I'm talking about the Denver Broncos. But Russell Wilson, he only threw 12 for 19 for 114 yards, but he had 3 touchdown guys and no turnovers.
That's huge. Yeah,
and you got to win. So I'm gonna give my surprise guy this week. I'm gonna give it to Russell Wilson, man.
I love that because that's 2 wins in a row for us. And 3 weeks ago on the couch coach, I told Russell to retire. I told him to ride back to the couch. So and I'm the Russell Wilson fan, right? It's just
now you are.
I mean, right over there on my
you
right.
were talking about removing him off the wall.
Well, listen,
see,
he turns around.
Hey, and I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that, man. So I know a lot of people wrote Russell off, man, but I have to give him his flowers this week.
Well, I
they
love that.
played.
It's good to see Russell back. We love seeing Russell Wilson playing at a high level again. So that's, I mean, the numbers are the numbers, but 3 touchdowns, and he controlled the game, and
Absolutely.
he beat Patrick Mahomes, which we thought was unbeatable. Maybe because Taylor Swift wasn't there yesterday. Maybe that's what happened. Maybe it threw the mojo off.
Yeah. I mean, it
Shout out
has
to
worked. I mean, when Taylor's there, Kelsey balls out. A little
True.
disappearance, brother.
True, that's true. So, Brandon, how about you, man? Who? Now you were in a bad mood all day yesterday, so I don't know if you could have been surprised, but who surprised you?
Hey, man, my other team, the Titans, won though, so I wasn't too bad, But we already talked about Will Levis. Obviously, he was very impressive on his first start. But I'm gonna go ahead against the grain on this and shock you guys. Zach Wilson.
Oh,
He is finding ways to get it done. He
yeah.
was the only quarterback yesterday that actually had a Brady moment. Like 20 seconds left. He does this little spin-a-room. He gets to the outside, throws a dime. I was like, oh, wow, okay. Gets him and ties him for overtime. Then he goes back and does the same thing again. I mean, his numbers weren't gaudy, but he didn't have any turnovers, right? He was sitting there at 17 of 36, 240 yards, and then he scrambled for 25 yards when he needed to. I think they're finding ways to win, and now they're sitting at 4-3. Would we ever imagine them sitting over 500 with Aaron Rodgers not
No,
there?
no, no,
No.
no.
Right?
Even with as good as that defense is, no, I
I
wouldn't.
think
Brandon.
I think Rodgers in his ear sitting on the sideline encouraging him. And kudos to Rodgers, man, for being a team player. I know they say he's a me guy. It really sounds like he is very vested into this team and wants
Absolutely.
to help Wilson. He sees a lot of himself in Wilson. If you look at the styles of play, they play very similar. Zach just makes some bonehead rookie mistakes, which
Yeah.
all young guys do, but he's got the talent. And I think what
Mhm.
he's doing, his team is starting to believe in him even more. Like, I think they didn't throw in the towel on him like they did last year. And I think you're starting to see some positivity, especially from Wilson in that offense. So
Mhm.
kudos to Zach for getting it done versus
Good pick.
a city rival. That was awesome.
Yeah, that's a huge game yesterday. They only play once every 4 years, so
Yeah, that was awesome.
that's a huge game for him to win, right? That's a big one. I had Will Levis. I didn't know anyone was going to talk about him earlier,
Of
but
course.
I had him because he was the guy in the draft that I said stay away from. I was like, this isn't the guy. He's too stiff. He's big, bulky. He wasn't really accurate on his outside the number throws at the combine. But man, 19 of 29, 238, 4 touchdowns. Here's what's to me is what I like about the passes, the touchdown passes. A 47-yarder to Hopkins, another 16-yarder to Hopkins, 61-yarder to Hopkins, and a 33-yard pass to Westbrook. That tells me he wasn't dinking and dunking, throwing screens and quick slants. This guy was pushing the ball down the field. Yes, you have one of the best receivers that ever did it on your team, but he has been invisible. We just talked about him last week on the Couch Coach, that he has been invisible, and he was all of a sudden very visible yesterday. It was nice to see the young guy come in, slinging the ball all over the place. Now, first game, nobody had film on him. Nobody knew what to expect. Can he do it next week? That's what we all, I think, want to see.
Absolutely.
And is Mike Vrabel, has he come out and said he's the starter? He's the guy, or are we still going to have a?
Oh no.
Because I mean,
has to
He
be.
came. I think he came out and said he's the starter.
He has to be.
They actually play Thursday night.
Yeah,
They
he
play
has
Thursday
to
night
be.
this week.
He has
Yeah,
to be. You
I
got to
think
die
so.
on the sword with him now.
Yeah, there's no question. I think
He'll start
Tannehill
now.
done. So where's Tannehill going to go? Minnesota?
Sit his ass on the bench.
I mean, if I was the Vikings right now, I mean, we talk about that in a little bit. But right now we're going to get to halftime, and we have another show. We are actually, this show, the QB Huddle podcast, is under the umbrella of a bigger show. Mary, tell us about the Couch Coach and what we're doing over there.
Man, the Couch Coach, man, it's going to drop every Friday. This is a group of guys. We also have some great fans that come in, some other co-hosts that come in, and they've really done a great job. I mean, basically, it's the trending topics of the NFL on a week-to-week base. Coach Jack, we hope to have you out there as well, too, because the atmosphere is a little different than being on Riverside. So you really get that, realism and that fine talk there, good conversations. We're hitting on a lot of cylinders when it comes to this. And, guys are doing their homework. Guests are really showing up prepared. And we really try to give you a great experience from a fan standpoint, to where most of these guys that get paid millions of dollars to talk this, half of them are wrong. We have literally been spot on. I would probably say 80% this season. It's been surreal just to how good we actually are as far as, predicting games, understanding the teams that are rising and falling. We can see it before it happens, but this NFL, as you and I know, it's a very unpredictable season, right? Hell, the Niners were 5-0, and now we're looking like we may not even make the playoffs.
It's certainly
right?
a week.
It's crazy.
So
I feel bringing on guys who have passion for the game. We're gonna have some amazing guests coming up soon, Coach Jack. We hope to have you on there real soon.
Absolutely.
And also, we got a couple of former NFL guys that are gonna get out there as well too and spin it. So stay out on the lookout of that. It's a great show. We have a lot of charisma and enthusiasm going on. I know this show is going to be a tough one because actually, the 49ers are, lost 3 in a row.
Oh, it's going to be the best show of the season.
May have lost as the host. Stefan may have lost his quarterback for the year.
That's true.
It could be a little depressing.
Could be.
We're going to keep it energized. We're going to keep fresh content available. So just be out on the lookout for that, man. And sky's the limit on that show. It's a fun show to do.
Awesome. Yep, we do it every week, and sometimes in person, sometimes here, but it's been a lot of fun. We were the only show, by the way, where unanimously we all picked the Ravens to beat the Lions while the entire country picked the Lions. So keep that just so everyone knows that's how accurate we've been on that show. Yeah. So, Jack, we wanted to have a special segment with you on. We know that you are big into the college football landscape. You know quite a bit about the landscape, being that both your boys are playing college ball, and we know you're watching it all the time, as we are. We don't talk a lot of college here, but today we are. I want to know, who are your top 5 quarterbacks coming out of the draft, and where do you think would be a good spot for them to land?
Ooh,
that's tough.
That's gonna be a tough one, but I'll tell you guys who I like right now.
Okay.
I definitely like the kid from Michigan.
JJ.
I like the kid from Michigan.
Love that.
Obviously, Penix, from Washington.
Yep.
Is probably going to be the Heisman Trophy winner. If he just keep doing what he's doing right now, I think he'll end up. He definitely be invited to that Heisman ceremony. I'll throw another one out there, man. I like Drake May from North Carolina.
Okay.
He's such a sleeper. They don't talk about him very much. I don't know why they don't, but Drake May is definitely the real deal. I like the kid from Georgia.
Sure, yeah.
And of course, and again, man, we can state the obvious. We can state the Caleb Williamses of the world. Obviously, USC struggling, bro. So,
damn sorry.
I gotta go with consistent play right now. But I'm gonna tell you else again. I'm gonna tell you else who I like, guys, and be my fifth quarterback pick. And I like the kid from Notre Dame.
I do too.
Oh, Sam.
I like Sam.
Yeah, I think that transfer was a really good move for him, and he's done nothing but blossom since he's been in South Bend.
He's a good kid.
He's one of those names that we'll probably be talking about at the end of the college football season, and maybe sneak in the Heisman talk. I don't know, but those would be my top 5 guys. Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm kidding. What am I doing, Jack? Bo Nix from Oregon. I'm sorry.
Yep.
I got to show love to Bo Nix as well.
Okay. 25 TDs to 1 interception. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, and Bo's one of those guys. I feel like I know him because Bo came out the same year as my son Trajan came out in 2019.
Sure.
So I actually saw Bo a lot in camps because him and Trajan was at the same camps. They were on some of the same college visits. They the same year. Bo went to Auburn first, then he went over to Oregon. But no, Bo's having and I think, if I'm not mistaken, Bo might have the most experience as a starting quarterback in college football.
He's got the most college wins of all time.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So, Bo's one of those guys. If Oregon can, somehow sneak out and win the Pac-12, who knows?
Yeah, I've got all the same quarterbacks that you do. I just talked to Brandon about Sam from Notre Dame last week. He thought I was crazy, but I really like that guy.
I like that kid.
I like him a lot. I have J.J. McCarthy, I think, as a fit. I have him maybe going to Minnesota. I think that's a really good place for him. Cold weather. He's got to play all those cold weather teams. He's from the Big Ten. He's bigger than you think. He's 6'3". And he has got right now the best QBR in all of college football at 93.6. Now, granted, they're not playing a lot of good teams. I understand that, but you can only play who they put on your schedule, and you can't play down to them as Michigan has done in the past. Michael Penix, I think, should be the number one quarterback taken off the board. I think he's the guy. Maybe he can go in and save Bill Belichick's career in New England. I don't know. I think that he's that guy. I'm with you on Drake May too. I think I looked at Denver for him. Maybe sit behind Russell Wilson until that contract is over. I like these guys to sit a little bit. I think Caleb's going to go to the Raiders if that move is made. I think everyone's kind of expecting that. And I like the Bo Nix. I just don't know where he fits. When I watch him play, I'm like, is he, is he Dak Prescott? Is he Tim Tebow? He's a big dude. He runs really hard. His throwing motion's kind of wonky, but he doesn't turn the ball over. He makes good decisions. Where does he fit? He's going to fit somewhere. Where is that going to be? I don't know. I have all those same guys as you. How about you, Brandon?
Yeah, I'm going to mix it up a little different. I'm going to throw you guys some curveballs because I feel like there's a couple of guys you guys didn't touch base on. Obviously, Caleb Williams, he drives me nuts, but he may be a good fit for a potential like Raiders or Cardinals, I think, right? I think if Josh McDaniels gets fired and they hire Lincoln Riley, I think that's a no-brainer. Right. I'm just not a fan of him. I'm sorry. Like, I like him, but I don't. I see some weird traits that's not going to translate in the NFL. Yeah. You don't throw in rhythm enough for me. You just don't. Like, you're getting a lot of holding calls from the offensive line. I think they had 10 holding calls last game because he holds onto the ball so long when guys are in the flats just wide open. I mean, I don't think he sees the field like everybody says. I love Drake May. I like that kid. I think Drake May is very underrated. I think if people really watch him, he reminds you of Josh Allen. He has that Josh Allen-esque style to him. I don't know how strong his arm is, but I know some of the throws he makes, I'm like, wow. And he's bigger than what you think. Yeah. I think he's a big 6'5" kid. Can push the ball all down the field. And these are one of these traits that I look for. You're playing with a team that's not everybody's going to play in the NFL, right? You're going to have to will your team, similar to a Sam Hartman, right? These guys are willing their teams. And if you can will your teams through that stuff without all these 5-star guys, I think that's going to translate in the NFL because when you get a top pick, you're going to have to struggle. You're going to go through it, right? There's not a lot of teams that are built for that. And I think Drake May, a perfect situation for him would be New England or Denver. I think under a veteran leadership, I think under a guy with Bill O'Brien and Drake May, or you put a Sean Payton with Drake May, you got something. And I know, right now Russell's got a crazy contract, but there's nothing wrong with him sitting. There's nothing wrong with any quarterback sitting right now. I feel you learn so much, but the best experiences get on the field. But I think for that first year, he's one of those guys that I feel that, will stretch along. Another one of my guys is the lefty, Michael Penix. I think he could fall to Seattle. I think that would be a perfect situation. You got to think Michael Penix has had 5 serious injuries in his college career. That is going to hinder him.
It's true.
Right? He's had ACL tears. He's had some bad shoulders. Like he's had some, injuries over his career through Indiana and last year. I think that may hinder him, even though he may be the best quarterback in college football right now from a statistical standing. Yeah. He's got 24 touchdowns to 6 picks. I think Seattle is a great landing spot if he falls. You got Geno there to help push you through. You're already familiar with that weather. You're from Washington. It makes a lot of sense to me. And then I got Jaden Daniels from LSU. Not a lot of guys are talking about him. That dude has 25 touchdowns to 3 picks and completing 70% of his passes. It's pretty good. I think a good landing spot for Jaden would probably be with somebody such as a Denver. I think Denver would really be a good look, or even Atlanta. Jaden Daniels in Atlanta. I don't think Ridley's the guy. And then I got another guy that nobody is talking about, and I think he is the perfect quarterback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and that is Jordan Travis from Florida State. That kid is balling. If you've ever seen him, Tim, that kid's an assassin.
I watched it. I mean, you said perfect quarterback for Tampa, so you want them to move off Baker now?
I think Baker's a bridge quarterback. As much as I like Baker, I think he's a bridge quarterback. And I'm not to say that Jordan Travis is going to start immediately. I don't think any of these quarterbacks should start immediately. I think everybody should at least sit a year and sit half a year. There's a lot of good quarterback play out there, but you got to – I mean, Jordan Travis right now has 18 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. He is very efficient. He's leading a team that is an underrated Florida State team. Again, he's one of these guys that has to will his team constantly. And yes, we can say the same thing about Caleb Williams, but I think that is a little bit more of a gimmicky kind of offense. I haven't seen anybody run it as efficient as Baker did with Lincoln Riley. But I think he's one of these guys that if he comes out, I mean, he's got enough athleticism. All 5 guys that I pointed out, they have unique traits. They can establish themselves in the pocket. They can utilize their legs when they need to, and they're all pretty much dynamic. Now, Shedeur, obviously, we'd have Shedeur in there, but I personally think Shedeur is going to stay. I think
I didn't put him on my list because I think he's going to stay.
They're going to chase a natty. I think he's honestly the best pocket passer of any one of them, and it's not close from what I see.
I would take Shedeur today.
Yeah, I think Shedeur will stay back. And we didn't touch base on him, Joe Milton. If you guys ever seen Joe Milton, dude, that dude's got a cannon. And he's going through some growing pains. He's 14-5 as far as touchdown interception ratio, but I'm not sure. Is he a senior right now?
I believe so.
If he's a senior,
sure. It might. Yeah,
he has elite traits, man. He does, but I just think Tennessee has a very gimmicky offense. And I don't think it will necessarily translate. But
he throws a lot of screens or a lot of deep balls. That's pretty much what he throws.
Well, they split their receivers so far outside. I don't know why they do that. I guess just to even split them out, just spread them out. But it's just too much of a gimmicky offense. And I think right now that those top 6 guys, I mean, I'll throw in Joe Milton there too. We'll see what happens. But
you didn't even say JJ. You didn't even mention him. So disrespectful.
I don't see it with JJ, bro. I just don't.
You're going to see it. We're going to revisit this next year. When I wrote that I wanted him to go to Minnesota.
All right, y'all don't play nobody.
When I wrote this over the weekend, wanting him to go to the Vikings, Kirk Cousins hadn't torn his Achilles tendon, and the thought was that Kirk Cousins would still be there next year for him to kind of play under for a year or two. I don't know that I want him to go anywhere where he has to start. But if you're the Vikings right now, just really quick off topic, what do? Do you go with your rookie? Do you go with the kid who was, kind of decent in college and, just kind of held on to the game yesterday? Or do you go get a veteran? And if you're going to go get a veteran, if you're Minnesota, who do you get? I personally like Colt McCoy because he's worked in this system before for 2 years. He's proven. He's a winner. He can play in all the elements. If I'm a Vikings fan, I want Colt McCoy on my team today. What do y'all think? Jackie, what do you think the Vikings should do?
Well, most depending on what y'all want to do now, because again, I don't think anybody predicted, obviously Kirk Cousins to get hurt like this. But you got to kind of think now, because keep in mind you got Justin Jeffers, sitting on injury reserve. So there's a lot of different parameters you need to think of about how you're going to do and how you're going to go about finishing your season.
He comes back in 2 weeks.
But again, that a question now with Cousins going down, Tim, do you bring him back or do you just sit him out? That's another question.
I don't think you do.
But me personally, I think he should play. I mean, if he's healthy, get out there and earn your money, no doubt. But I'm with you, Tim. I think they need to go out and get him a veteran. I'm not sure exactly who that veteran would be because of I'm not sure actually what's all out there and who's all available. But what I will say is that I agree with a guy like a Colt McCoy, especially someone who's familiar with what's going on within your system. And again, if shifting back over to Tennessee, if Tennessee wants to go with the younger guys, maybe Tannehill could be someone that you guys could entertain in a trade. Now, the trade deadline is tomorrow. Tuesday.
Yeah.
So a lot of things I think we're going to have, and even before you guys' next podcast next week, you guys will probably be talking about some guys that got traded or something like that. So who knows, what's going to land and what's going to happen with Minnesota. But I'm with you, Tim. I definitely think they need to go out and get him a veteran, because if you're going to bring back Justin Jefferson, and if I'm not mistaken, they are what, are they 4-3 or 4-4? Or 3-4, something like
Well,
that?
I don't even know if they're 500 yet, to be honest with you.
Are they 500?
Remember they were a one-win team just a couple of weeks ago.
So I mean,
So
depending
I
on
have
what
to
you want
look
to
at
do
what
as an
the record
organization,
is.
if you want to shut it down, or if you want to actually try to make a playoff run. I mean, just depending on what you want to do. If you want
Yeah,
to
you're
shut it
right.
down
The
and just
Vikings are
try to get the best
4-4.
pick, then just go with the young guy that you already got. But if you want to actually try to do something, then definitely go out and get you a veteran. And I like the name you used, Tim. I like Colt McCoy, and I obviously like someone like a Tannehill from Tennessee. If it's now becoming, maybe, I ain't saying it's a quarterback controversy, but I'm most definitely saying that you're going to have a lot of people in Tennessee that want to see the rookie play.
I think
Yeah.
after yesterday, nobody's going to want to see Tannehill again.
Oh,
Probably
oh,
not. You're probably right. I mean, yeah, it depends on what the Vikings' mindset is. I guess at 4-4, you're looking up at the Lions. You got to. Are we going to be able to catch the Lions, or should we rest our number one receiver? Do we waste the money on another quarterback? Do we get?
Absolutely.
I feel bad for Minnesota. They're in a mess. They're in a mess right now, and I feel worse for Kirk Cousins, because now what happens to him next year? When is
That's
he going
right.
to be able to play? He better be on the phone with Aaron Rodgers this morning, right? Give him the same name of that same doctor, so we can go get the same procedure, so
That's
he could
right.
be back and ready to play next year at his presumably new team, which won't be the Vikings.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, man, the NFL is a tough business.
there's one guy you guys are missing, and I can't believe you haven't said it
Talk
yet.
to me,
The
Brendan.
hometown kid, Trey Lance.
Trey Lance is securely with the Dallas Cowboys, sir. We are not
Why
letting him
not?
out of the.
I
We're
bet
not
you
letting
can
him
get
out
a
of
second for him. I
We're-
bet you'll get it. I bet you can get a
I
second
know.
for him.
You want to send Justin Jefferson over, you can have Trey Lance. Fair?
No, go
No?
get him. Go get him. Send a
What
second
do
round
you
pick,
think that
Minnesota, and go get Trey Lance, the
you want to
hometown
get
kid
Brandon Trey
from
Lance?
Minnesota. He's played in that same offense, right? Now you have an opportunity for the second stretch of the season to really show that you can do this, and maybe you have an opportunity being a franchise guy
Why would the Cowboys trade him?
because you're not playing him now.
But
Like, why?
they gave
He's
him
a
grants
practice
to
squad
turn
quarterback. He's a practice squad quarterback. You got Cooper Rush. Would you trade Cooper Rush there and get a 5th round pick, or would you trade Trey Lance and get a 2nd round pick?
You think someone's going to give a second round pick for Trey Lance who hasn't been seen on the
In
field?
this situation, yes.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yes.
Zach, do you want to give up Trey Lance to San Francisco? To Minnesota?
Do I personally want to give him up? No.
No. I agree.
I don't think so, because I think we got him for a steal. And I think the 49ers let him go prematurely. That's just my opinion.
100%. 100%.
I
We
don't know
agree.
if he was, I don't. And we got, basically, again, we got him for a steal. And again, I think the 49ers gave up on him a little quick. So I'm
Yeah.
okay with Trey Lance coming and being, like Brendan said, a practice quarterback for a year or two, or
Yeah,
being.
learn it.
I'm okay with that. I mean, this kid is 23 years old, man.
Exactly.
But to Brendan's point, if it's,
Future.
you got to kind of look at, what are the Cowboys trying to do right now? They trying to win a Super Bowl right now. So
They're trying to
if you
extend Dak.
can go and I can upgrade, or if Minnesota got something I really feel like can upgrade my team to help me win right now today, if it's a second round, or maybe even someone to come over in a trade, I'm not sure if I would actually go for the round by itself. But
Yeah. I'm
because
with
we're
you.
trying to win a Super Bowl right now, I need pieces right now. So I want you to be able to give me something other than just a draft pick, if that makes sense.
Here's a proposal.
It's any good.
You go get Hunter, who's leading in sacks. You trade him, and you get a 2nd or a 3rd, and get in return you get Trey Lance.
I'm okay with that. Again,
He's
it's
trade bait at this point.
someone that can
Both of
help
them
me
are.
win right. If it's someone that can help me win right now, I'm okay with that because
Right.
I think our team, just like you feel, Brendan, I think our team is also built to win right now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right
Well,
now.
that's the way of the league now. We're not in the 80s anymore, in the 90s, where you can build and you can say, okay, in 3 years we're going to be ready to win. No, you
Right.
got to be ready to win right now. The way the salary
Right now.
cap is structured,
Mm-hmm.
the money the way these guys move around, you got to build the team and you got to be able to win now. And when you have a team like the Cowboys do with this defense, right, with the nucleus that we have, I think you have to be thinking Super Bowl. I just don't know what the Vikings could give us from a player standpoint today that helps us get over that hump.
Yeah.
Hunter, the DN.
Maybe. I feel like we need
You pair him up with Mark. You pair those three up together. That puts Micah Parsons back in his original spot, and then he can only be a guy who can rush for third down, and it manipulates the defense a little bit. I think you get better that way.
Well, Brandon, make the call. See if you can make it. Maybe this is why
I can try to negotiate a little bit. It makes sense.
Jerry,
I think it makes a lot of sense.
Jerry maybe made this move for this exact moment. We don't know, right? Jerry, whatever Jerry does is in Jerry's head. We don't know. So,
I think
with that, let's move on. We're almost through with this week, sadly, but there's going to be some matchups coming up this week that we're all looking forward to. Jackie, let's start with you as our guest. Give me some quarterback matchup or two that you're looking forward to watching this coming weekend.
Oh man,
Let the folks know.
Did I even look? Let me see if I remember even looking that far ahead. Man, I'm gonna be honest with you. It's an easy pick for me.
It's got to be.
I got to go with Dakota Rain Prescott and Jalen Hurts. I know you. I know it's obvious, and I tried to stay away from the obvious, during the show. But that's one I can't because that's.
Yeah.
I mean, we rank and we rate these two particular quarterbacks every week. They're in somebody's conversation. So
True.
I mean, obviously, it's a very, very, very attractive matchup. And again, with me being, a Cowboy fan, obviously, and Dak Prescott and Jalen Hurts thing going on. And I mean, to me, that's just a very attractive matchup this weekend. I'm looking very forward to that for sure. I got my popcorn ready for sure.
You got your popcorn ready. I love that. I'm nervous. I'm not looking forward to it. I feel like this is one of those games in Philly that I'm watching it and I'm getting mad and I'm throwing my popcorn across the room.
Hey man, we're gonna win. Tim.
Looks like you on the golf course, huh?
We're gonna beat Philly, Tim. We're gonna win. First of all, we own Philly. Okay, we
Okay.
own Philly, bro.
I love this. He's making me feel confident now. I love it.
Come on, bro. We own Philly, man. I'm telling you.
So,
I'm telling you this. I'm gonna tell you this, and then I'm gonna let you guys get yours. I'm telling you, we own Philly, Tim, and we're gonna win. We're gonna go to Philly. We are going to win, bro. I'm telling you, it's one of those things, man. Philly. We've all been watching Philly these last few weeks.
Yeah,
Philly's been barely getting by people. Okay,
yeah.
They've been barely, despite how guys have been playing, despite the numbers we can throw out, quarterback play, they've been barely getting by people, man.
Right.
Jalen Hurts also has 11 turnovers. We don't talk about that because they're 7-1. But that boy had 7 turnovers. And I feel like they're going to soon run up against a team that you're not going to be able to make mistakes against. And I feel like if Dallas can come out and get an early start, like we done yesterday, like we done against the Giants in week 1, like we've done in a couple of games this year. If we can come out and get an early start and get to Philly early, we can put them on some skates, man, and I think we can go there and we can beat them, man. I really feel like we will beat them, and we finna give Philly second loss. We finna give Philly their second loss.
Please do it.
We're finna give Philly, because as a fan, I want to be able to talk on Facebook for another week, to Brandon.
I hear you. If that happens,
we're gonna light y'all ass up.
Jeez. So obviously that's gonna be a fun game. I've got Buffalo versus Cincinnati. Cincinnati beat Buffalo last year in the playoffs. I think that's a great game. That's a Sunday night game. That's in Ohio. Burrow is healthy. I love that. Man, my Tennessee versus Pittsburgh is going to be a fun one. Don't know if Kenny Pickett will be able to play, but I really want to see can Will Levis do this against a high-powered defense like what the Steelers bring? If he goes out there and throws another 3-4 touchdowns and no turnovers, then we have to anoint the guy at least for another week. And Miami, Kansas City in England is a game that could be, I don't know, that's over the pond. I don't know if that game is going to be what we want it to be because of the travel and the fact that Patrick Mahomes looked terrible yesterday. Hopefully he'll be past the flu. It's not COVID or anything. But that should be a game that should be good on paper. Right? What are you looking forward to, Brandon?
Well, damn, you just said all three of mine. Nah. I had Dak versus Hurts. I got Allen versus Burrow, Tua versus Mahomes. If you guys think that game over there in Germany is going to be a fluke, Mahomes is pissed off.
Yeah,
guarantee it.
He's mad.
He's about to turn all the way up. He's going to turn all the way up, and so is Tua. They're both going to have a really good match. I think they're traveling there for the entire week. Hopefully, Mahomes gets some recovery.
Yeah,
I think Tua's playing at a very high level still. And this is one of those games for Tua and the Dolphins. You've got to finally beat a good team. You got to beat a good team. You can't keep getting by with these skating by with teams under 500. You got to finally prove it. Are you a threat in the AFC? Because I tell you, the only two threats I see in the AFC right now that could take down Mahomes in the Arrowhead Invitational, aka AFC title game. It is going to be Joe Burrow, and it's going to be Lamar Jackson.
That's right.
I think those are the only two I see that can just really gear it. Josh Allen, Tua. I mean, they struggle versus teams over 500. I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing Allen versus Burrow a lot because I know Burrow's going to put pressure on him, and a healthy Joe Burrow is scary.
Really
it's
is
scary. You can't get to him; he's going to kill you.
He's so good.
Yeah, he's a man of few mistakes, and it's good to see those guys stretch, even though they're last in the division. I think having a win versus the Bills really puts them over, and it's like, okay, they're back again, and they've done this year in and year out. So that's definitely those matchups I'm looking forward to.
So you heard it, guys. Get out, watch those games next weekend. Get up early. I think the first game's at like 8 in the morning. It will be on NFL Network. So make sure you're up watching that early morning game, Miami versus Kansas City. There's going to be some great football on, and we're getting to that area of the season where games matter just a little bit more than they did a couple of weeks ago. So that's always fun. Man, this has been about our longest episode ever. We've had a lot of spice on this show. The more the 49ers lose, the better this show is going to get. I promise. Had to throw that in there too. Brandon, how did you do in fantasy last week, my man?
I did all right. I think my biggest one was Josh Allen. I mean, he balled out. Anytime these guys only have one or less turnover, they win. They're undefeated this year. So maybe they do that with Cincinnati, or maybe it comes crashing down because Cincinnati has been known to scheme and make adjustments on the fly better than any defensive coordinator out there right now.
So give us your pitch this week. Who you
my guy, man, I got Mahomes versus the Fins. I think he's pissed off.
Okay.
I do. I think he's gonna light it up. Also have Tua versus the Chiefs. I think Tua lights it up too.
Just start them both. Okay.
Start Burrow, start Allen. I mean, I think all four of those quarterbacks are going to go off. But I just think the biggest factor is, especially when you're in fantasy, you really want ideal 17 to 20 points. I feel that's a solid game. The quarterbacks to stay away from, I'm going to say Baker versus the Texans. And I'm also going to say Joe Burrow versus the Jets. That's a scrappy defense, and they force a lot of turnovers. So can they get to Justin Herbert? And also stay away from Sam Howell. Sam Howell's one of the most, even though he's got some talent, he puts up some pretty decent numbers. He's the most sacked quarterback in the league. And and you and I both know it's a trend that starts when he starts turning the ball over and doing some different things. He'll play good one week and then he'll lay an egg the next week. Well, this is the week to lay an egg. So those are the guys I got, man. Start them, sit them, and good luck.
And that's it. And that's going to do it for this week's edition of the QB Huddle podcast. Please like, subscribe, share, comment. Even if you don't agree with us, we want to hear from you. Keep an eye out for the Couch Coach. That will be dropping later this week, typically on Fridays. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks to our incredible producer, Mark Watson, out of Arizona. Thanks to our special guest, Jackie OG Bridges, who brought the fire this week. We appreciate you coming on the show. Me and you are going to be in a great mood, having been at the game yesterday. So we're really excited to have you on. Make sure you tune in next week for my broadcast partner, Brandon Lee. My name is Tim Smith, and we appreciate you. See you next week.